Hello everyone. In the last video we talked about multiplying polynomials, so today we're going to talk about dividing polynomials and more specifically long division of polynomials. So we're going to review real quick on some long division. And so if we are dividing 4 into 9,351 using long division, we would say 4 goes into 9 2 times, 4 times 2 is 8, and then we would subtract that to get 1 as our leftover. Then we bring down our 3. 4 goes into 13, we would say 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. And we would subtract that to get 1. We bring down our 5. 4 goes into 15, also 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We would subtract that to get 3. And then we would bring down our last piece, which would be 1. 4 goes into 31 7 times. 4 times 7 would be 28. And we would subtract that to get 3. Now there's a few different ways we could go from here. So we could keep bringing down zeros, but that's not going to apply to what we're going to do today. So what we're going to do is we're going to say have a remainder of 3, but we're going to say it's 3 divided by what our divisor is of 4. And so we would say that as a mixed number, we would say 2,337 and 3/4 would be our final answer. If you wanted to convert it to a decimal later on, we could, but that, like I said, it doesn't apply to our way of dividing polynomials. So using polynomials for today and when we do synthetic division, you just need to make sure that you know your dividend and divisor, and then make sure everything's in standard form. And if you have any missing terms, like if there's no x but there's an x squared, you need to include a 0 as a placeholder. And that's especially important for synthetic division, but it does help in long division. So we're going to divide this. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it in the format. So we're going to say x minus 1 dividing into x to the 4th plus 2x to the 3rd minus 5x squared plus 3x minus 1. Just make sure you copy it down correctly. And then we have two terms now, but what we want to focus on is saying how many times does x go into x to the 4th. So what that means is we're going to say x to the 4th divided by x as some scratch work, and that's going to leave us with x to the 3rd. So we're going to say that that's going to go in x to the 3rd times. And then x to the 3rd, we're going to, same as this process, we said 2 times 4 gives us this 8. We need to say x to the 3rd times x, but also times minus 1. So we're going to end up with x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd. And then same as that step we subtracted 8, we're going to subtract this, so that means we're going to flip the signs on both. You need to make sure you do it on both, not just the first one. The first two should always cancel out or reduce to 0, and then we'll be left with 3x to the 3rd. We bring down a minus 5x squared, and now we change our focus to say how many times does x go into 3x cubed. So if we need to do some scratch work, 3x cubed over x is going to be 3x squared. So we're going to say plus 3x squared, and instead now we're going to multiply that into everything that we're dividing into. So 3x squared times x is 3x cubed, and 3x squared times negative 1 is minus 3x squared. We're going to subtract at this step, so we subtract by changing the signs. These will always give you 0, and then negative 5x squared and 3x is going to be minus 2x squared. We bring down the next piece of 3x, and we continue the process. So now we're looking at negative 2x squared divided by x is going to give us negative 2x. So that's the next piece. And we're going to multiply that in now. Back into the original part. Let me get rid of these. And so we would say negative 2x times x is negative 2x squared. Negative 2x times negative 1 is positive 2x. Okay, from here we're going to change our signs. So that means that that's going to become a plus and that's going to become a minus. And we're going to be left with just x. Now we're going to bring down our minus 1. And now we're going to say how many times does x go into x. So if we need to do some scratch work, we can say x over x is going to be 1. And so we're going to say plus 1 up here. And then when we multiply that out, we're going to get x. 1 times negative 1 is minus 1. And we get 0. So that would be our final answer up there. Let me get a color that's not so bright. But we would say our final answer is x to the third plus 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. Okay, let's look at another one. So if we have 6x squared minus 13x plus 2 divided by 2x minus 5, we do the same kind of process. We write it in the format. And so we're going to say how many times does 2x go into our lead term of 6x squared. So without doing any scratch work, we can see that this is 3x. If you need to do scratch work, that's fine. We're going to multiply this out to get 6x squared. 3x times negative 5 is minus 15x. We need to remember to subtract at this step or flip all of our signs. First two cancel, we get 2x. And then we're going to bring 2 down to say plus 2. Now we change our focus to say 2x into 2x, and that's going to be plus 1. So 1 times 2x is going to give us 2x. 1 times negative 5 is going to be minus 5. And we need to remember to change our signs, so we're going to be left with 7. We have nothing left to bring down, so we don't have any decimals or anything like that. So what we're going to say is we're going to have a remainder of 7 over 2x minus 5. So writing that in a little bit cleaner format, we'll have 3x plus 1 plus 7 over 2x minus 5. So you have to write all of that as your answer if it does not divide evenly. Okay, last one we're going to look at is just a formatting one that we have to pay attention to. So we notice that we have 16x squared. There's no x term. And then we have minus 7 divided by 3 plus 4x. We just need to write the 3 plus 4x as 4x plus 3. So we want to write it in standard form. And then we're going to put in a 0x as a placeholder just for some spacing so that it is not 100% required, but I think it's easier if you put that in long division. So we're looking at how many times does 4x go into 16x squared. So that is going to go in 4x times. We distribute 4x into 4x plus 3. We're going to get 16x squared plus 12x. We need to flip our signs on everything. So we're going to say minus 12x now. We bring down our 7, negative 7. And now we say how many times does 4x go into negative 12x. And so that's going to be negative 3 times. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12x. Negative 3 times 3 is minus 9. We need to change our signs. So we're left with a 2. And we have nothing left to bring down, so we're going to say that this is plus 2 over 4x plus 3. Again, just so cleaning it up a little bit, 4x minus 3 plus 2 over 4x plus 3. And make sure you can't do any reducing. So this is your final answer. You need to write all of that if you have a remainder. So today we talked about long division of polynomials, and I hope this helps you solve your problem.